Alright, let's go get the Duracraft. Ouch. The old Prowler still here. There's the new windshield I have for it. I just set it there. I didn't actually put it on. As you can see, the old one is right behind it. I think it looks a heck of a lot more natural. I'm just a little worried about the curvature of the deck. It might be too much. I don't know. We're going to find out. So let's unearth this old girl. Tires are fully inflated. Not. Perfect. Alright, I'd kind of like for you guys to do a little bit of dreaming with me here. Somebody once said, life is worth living when you have dreams. Of course, we need to repaint this whole deck. I've got the paint in the house. I have to redo my craft numbers, because those are illegal, technically. There's supposed to be a space here and here. It's time to replace this old squawking electric horn, which is 12 volt, with these super cool boat sounding air type horns. Although I have some issues with the pump, which I think is just a... Whoops, that worked that time. It doesn't always catch. I'm thinking there's a check valve in there or something that feel it. That and only the high horn is sounding. So I'm thinking the diaphragm in here, ouch on the strips, might be a little dry. So that's something to look at. Now, you can sound them with regular lung pressure. So once we fix those up, they'll replace the squawker for something a little bit more nautical sounding. The windshield, the modern windshield from the 70s or 80s, which we pulled off a boat, is going to be replaced with this one, which I salvaged from work before the boat went to the junkyard. I've got to polish it out, but I think it'll clean up. I'm not sure about these scratches up here, but for free, what do you want? I'm not a huge fan of the boring, basic, period correct starter control panel, aka a button, and the just plain dash to begin with. Also, the 1970s or 1980s control box, which works, but it's not correct. I'd like to replace it with something a little bit more classy, a little bit more wooden boatish. Something like this. I think, I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking this is mahogany. I'm not exactly sure on that. There's no knots that I can tell. It's water damaged, of course. But I salvaged it from work when they were closing the doors. And work is a place that used to, in 1938 to 1958, made wooden boats. So these are remnants of the Duracraft wooden boat company that they were just going to burn up. I said, no, I'll take these home. So consequently, I got a shed full of stuff. But so this is what I want to put around that dash. I need a wider piece, which I have in the garage. I just grabbed this for posterity. Also, air guide, speedometer, and tachometer, which is of course the incorrect one for the motor, but I think I can figure it out, how to wire it so it's properly. So put the mahogany piece over that piece of aluminum there, of course, and then route our choke button there, and I have an ignition switch for here, which will be on the right hand side of the wheel. I have a brand new appropriate ignition switch, key switch, to throw in there. Here's a flag to run on the front. I have the bow mast in the garage. Also, I'd like to run some wood across, whoops, here and on the side, there and on the side, just to give it a little bit of a little bit of trim. And then of course I'll have my seat cushions back in, which are in the shed. I'll throw up a picture of what those look like later. Here's the control box that I have. That's a period correct control box. It needs to be repainted, but hey, that's easy. It's functional. And there's my another flag. I got two flags. Ignition, speedometer stuff, and then a whatchamacallit, pickup tube. So there's that. Now we'll come over here to the motor. The motor isn't escaping either. I have a new impeller for it because it's been probably 15-20 years. It's been at least 10 since this has been on the water. So I have a new impeller and some fresh gear oil. And also, I have the appropriate cover coming that covers this whole thing up when this is latched and everything. I gotta fix that. It was not easy to find. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the best, it's actually a whole hood. So I'm going to take the best looking hood and we're going to combine two to make one. Also, that new hood also has this Evinrude Lark emblem that's, I'll show you on the other side, that it's missing. This is all going to get fixed up. The chrome is pretty nice on this, but we're missing this stripe used to be red. Yeah, not anymore. Here's that Lark emblem I was telling you about. Oh, one more thing. The biggest thing that I want to do, which is going to be a big task. You can see the plywood here. There's no plywood there, but there is up there. I don't know how well you can see it. There's plywood up there. What I want to do is I want to make a new floor for this. Oh boy, that board is really teetering. But the thing is, with the floor, I don't want to just throw plywood down because that everybody does that. I'll show you what I want to do here in a minute. This is an old teak swim platform. And this is how I want to make the floor, looking like that, you know, with the slats. I'm thinking of running 2 pieces of wood from the, what I want to do, because you can't just throw a floor, you know, over the curvature of the boat or whatever and block off the drain hole. What I want to do is run 2 boards from, well, I'll figure out the right height, but from the back of the front bench to the back of the rear bench, and put a board in, and that'll give me the slats going across ways. And then I can glue boards on the side for support. Or maybe I'll just put 4. I'll figure it out. In the front, I'll follow the pattern that I have, but still make it slatted like that. And same within the back. So that's my plan. I gotta figure out, I'm thinking put some cedar down, cedar wood, nothing heavy. Cedar's nice and light. The only problem is I don't have any rough cut cedar. It's all, so I'll have to see what I can find. I have tongue and groove. This might be a bit thin. Yeah, that's too thin for what I want to do. Ooh, there's a robin right there. Anyways, so that's the plan. Kind of make this a bit more original and a lot more elegant. I mean, after all, this 1956 Evinrude Lark were kind of the Cadillacs of the Evinrude line for the time, at least in stylish style. So that's the plan. The boat feels a heck of a lot longer than it really is. But it also feels a lot shorter. I seem to remember sitting in further when I was a kid. But, you know what happens? You grow up. The steering wheel has to come off. I don't like how loose it is. I'll fill in some of these cracks. I wasn't going to take the wheel off, but you know what? It needs to be done. So, here we go. Here's the steering wheel now that I took off this 1970s cover or 80s cover that I had put on. I thought it was cool at the time, but I have a little bit more skills than I do. I have a little more skills now than I did then. If anyone has any ideas about how to trace this serial number, let me know. All I know is that this is the 16,372nd boat that they made. So, let's keep going. I'm going to leave the controls for now. I'm going to get that horn button off. I'm going to leave this light switch in, because that does control the front light and the rear light. Gotta get these off. So let's keep going. In case any of y'all are wondering what it looks like underneath the runabout, or runabout. Pretty boring, actually. Wiring. Fuse panel. Flotation foam. Oh well, you can see. I got one more spring to get out and this foam can come down so I can disconnect the front light wires. So, yeah. Not very comfortable. Not even enough room for a bed. Or a wet bar. Okie dokie. Got the windshield loose. The accessories up front there are loose, so we just gotta pull those off, and that's it. When we're ready to put the wood on, we'll pull all this stuff off, but that's later. Oops. Yeah, starting to look like a boat again rather than a, I don't know what. That looks like a PT boat. I want to put the new windshield on. See what that looks like. Well, that certainly looks a lot more classic boatish. I just don't know if that's going to fold around the corner like that. Well, only one way to find out, right? To bolt it down. Alright guys, I think that's enough for this episode. Next time we're going to get the boat off the trailer and we're going to start sanding it down. So guys, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Stay tuned for more.